Want to know the 7 tips you can use to communicate effectively at work, school, and business? Watch this video for tips that will help you increase your influence when communicating. Hello, my name is Chris Houston, and today I want to share some tips that will help you with your communication skills. There are 7 things that are important to us when communicating: timing, having something worth saying and saying it well, sincerity, practice, brevity, style, and feedback. And we're going to touch on each one. First is timing. When you say something is just as important as what you say. When I was preparing for this talk, my daughter asked me, what does timing have to do with communicating? Once I explained to her, she said, oh, I see. Here's the example I gave her. Let's say a kid gets in trouble for not having their chores done. And let's say that this wasn't the first time this happened. And now let's say that kid wants a new laptop. Asking for that laptop right after they just got in trouble would be an example of bad timing. And my daughter made sure I say that it's not her that got in trouble. Actually, I had to sign an affidavit saying it wasn't her. Anyway, timing of your decisions is just as important as the decisions you make. That's a quote by John Maxwell. Have something worth saying is second, and say it well. Good delivery is one of those things. One way to have better delivery is study speakers with great delivery. Having great delivery doesn't mean you don't make a mistake, or it doesn't mean you don't say every now and then. It means you get your point across in a clear and concise manner. Don't be afraid of stumbling over a word or saying or better yet, don't be afraid to pause and gather your thoughts. Having an expanded vocabulary also helps. An expanded vocabulary helps us describe things in more than one way. If someone uses a new word and you don't know what the meaning of that word is, look it up. I'm in meetings a lot with a lot of intelligent people. Sometimes I'm in meetings with attorneys, and sometimes they say words that, they might say a word that I don't know the meaning of. So you know what I do? Get on my phone, Google it, I look it up. Next is sincerity. Be honest when speaking. My wife has this one down. Her honesty is like a glow. Everyone can see it. I spend a couple of hours thinking of topics, making sure my delivery is good. My wife can just speak from her heart. She was asked to speak at a women's conference a few years ago. She spoke from her heart and got several accolades for her presentation. Sincerity does not mean saying the first thing that comes to your mind or keeping it real all the time. Sometimes keeping it real can keep you broke. So be sincere with tact and diplomacy. Practice is next. Practice helps develop skill. In the book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell talks about to master something, it takes approximately 10,000 hours. He interviewed several successful people, including Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, among other great individuals. They all agreed it took years of practice to master their craft. In the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I like the chapter on sharpening your saw, which means working on your craft day in and day out. I heard a quote from Zig Ziglar: practice is the mother of skill, the father of achievement, and the architect of success. In communicating, practice alleviates the fear of having that crucial conversation. Practice your communication skills by communicating as much as possible. Leading meetings, talking to your peers, your bosses, your subordinates, and more importantly, teaching others about topics that you are on your way of mastering. Next is brevity. The more you know, the more brief you can be. The more wisdom you can acquire, the more brief you can be. And the more knowledge you acquire, the briefer you can be. The difference between knowledge and wisdom: you can acquire knowledge from education, books, and mentors. You acquire wisdom by applying that knowledge. I was going to give an example of how to be brief and concise in an interview. I started writing it and it became its own little short video. So I will post another video just on tips and techniques that I use in interviews when I'm getting interviewed. Being brief in your presentation is key. These videos that I'm creating are about 10 minutes long. The average attention span these days is about 8 seconds long. So brevity is key in communication. Next is style. Develop your own style. Now you can take some information from mentors, but don't copy them. I talked about mentors in one of my last videos, and one of my friends asked, Chris, how do you find a mentor? Do you just go up to them and say, hey, you want to be my mentor? Let me explain that one. With personal development, you don't have to personally meet your mentor. Remember, you don't have to have the same mentor for everything. My leadership mentor is John Maxwell. I never met him, but I have used and practiced the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership for the past 6 years. I don't copy his style, but I do apply some of his leadership principles. Develop your own style on how you want to communicate. Lastly, in communication, be prepared to give and receive feedback. Always make feedback constructive. When getting feedback, don't be defensive. Be open-minded. I get a lot of feedback from creating these videos. Every week, I tweak something based on feedback I get from people I trust. Some feedback you have to listen to and just thank the person for their view. When giving feedback, don't just concentrate on the negative. Find ways to give both positive and constructive feedback. I've talked about 7 communication tips: timing, having something worth saying and saying it well, sincerity, practice, brevity, style, and feedback. I hope these communication tips help you in your future conversations and presentations. If you found value in this video, please hit the subscribe button below and leave comments. My name is Chris Houston, and I will be posting every Saturday. Thank you very much. Good night, and God bless.